It is May, and for gardeners here in Florida and other warm climates, this is a month where everything shifts, and I really do mean everything. The heat starts climbing fast, humidity rises, the daily rains begin creeping in, and it can feel like every pest in the world wakes up overnight. Gardeners in Florida and other subtropical and tropical climates are entering what I like to call jungle gardening season. Forget warm season crops. It's time to take it further and plant truly heat-tolerant and tropical climate-loving crops that will provide a harvest into the summer months. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to plant in May, what you should avoid planting, how to time everything correctly, and which varieties will actually thrive as we move into the hottest months of the year. If you would like a free printable planting checklist for May that goes along with this guide, I have it linked in the description below so you can just download it. If you're new here, my name is Jara. I'm a lifelong gardener, permaculture designer, and I own a seed and plant nursery in Orlando, Florida. My mission is to help home gardeners grow more food by sharing the exact plants, techniques, and industry secrets I use every day in both my garden and my nursery. If you want to grow along with me, many of the seeds and plants I mentioned are available on my website, jarasgarden.com. All right, let's jump into everything you can plant in May. May is a major transition month in the garden as we move from spring into early summer. Temperatures are rising into the 90s, humidity is increasing, pests are multiplying quickly, and the rainy season is right around the corner. So the strategy completely changes this month. Do not continue to plant traditional cool or warm season spring crops anymore. You should be harvesting those out by now. Instead, hot climate gardeners need to start planting tropical summer crops. If you plant the wrong things right now, they will struggle, attract pests, and waste your time. But if you plant the right crops, your garden will explode with growth and stay productive all summer long. Now let's talk about the grains category, because this is something most home gardeners completely overlook, especially in hot climates. There are actually quite a few grains that grow really well in tropical and subtropical conditions, and I like to group them into two categories. Types that tolerate high soil moisture, which is great if you have areas that have poor drainage or flood, and then there are grains that prefer drier soils and are more drought tolerant. Crops like alata, also called Job's tears, and rice thrive in hot, humid environments and can tolerate very wet soil conditions. The first time I saw alata was when I was taking a permaculture course in Costa Rica. It's actually a perennial plant that will produce several grain harvests in the same year. It's very easy to grow, productive, and the grain is very tasty, kind of similar to barley. If you want to try it first before planting, I often find bags of it at my local Asian grocery stores under the name Jacob's Tears. Rice is also another fantastic grain crop to grow during the summer. Now, one important thing I want to clear up, because this is a common misconception. Rice does not actually need to be grown in flooded paddies to survive. It doesn't love water in the sense that it requires flooding. The reason rice is often grown in flooded paddies is because the water helps suppress weeds and reduce pest and insect pressure, not because the plant actually needs to be submerged. So if you're growing rice at home, you can absolutely grow it in regular garden soil as long as you keep it consistently moist. To plant both alata and rice, you're going to direct sow the seeds about 1 inch deep into warm soil. Keep the soil consistently moist during germination, and once the plants are established, they will take off pretty quickly in the heat. Now on the other side, we have grain crops that grow better in normal soils with good drainage and can even tolerate a little bit of drought. This includes crops like sorghum, millet, amaranth, and more resilient types of corn like flint, dent, and popcorn varieties. These grains are incredibly tough. They handle high temperatures, poor soil, and pest pressure much better than a lot of traditional crops. Amaranth is one of my favorites because it's a dual-purpose plant. You can harvest the leaves as a leafy green and then later harvest the seeds as a grain. Sorghum can be used for grain, flour, or even syrup, and millet is a fast-growing grain that does really well in hot conditions. Now let's talk about corn, but not the kind you're probably thinking of. In May, I stopped recommending sweet corn. It struggles in the heat, attracts pests, and just doesn't perform well in a subtropical or tropical summer garden. Instead, this is a time to grow corn as a grain crop, the way it's been grown for thousands of years. Maize, flint, dent, and popcorn varieties are much more resilient. These types were traditionally grown by indigenous cultures throughout the Americas and were selected to handle heat, pests, and tough conditions, which is exactly why they do so well in hot climates like Florida. Flint corn has a very hard outer shell, which protects it from insects, moisture, and rot, making it especially reliable in humid climates. Because of that hard kernel, it stores really well and is often used for things like popcorn, coarse cornmeal, or decorative corn. Dent corn, on the other hand, has a softer, starchier interior. As it dries, the top of the kernel forms a small dent. That's where it gets its name from. This softer texture makes it much easier to grind, which is why dent corn is most commonly used for cornmeal, flour, grits, and even things like masa for tortillas. Popcorn is a type of flint corn that expands when heated. And maize is just the overall term that includes all of these types of grain. These are true staple crops. Once dried, you can store them long term, grind them into flour, make grits, tortillas, or hominy. They are also incredibly tough. They handle heat, humidity, pests, and heavy rains far better than sweet corn. And once established, they require very little maintenance. To plant, direct sow seeds about 1 inch deep in warm soil. Plant in blocks instead of single rows for better pollination, and keep them watered while establishing. Since May is when I make the switch to growing maize, flint, dent, and popcorn, I have chosen corn as this month's Grow Along With Me challenge. To celebrate, I'm offering 50% off all corn seed packs. You must enter the code CORN50 at checkout for it to apply over on my website, jarrahsgarden.com. This discount is valid through the last day of May 2026. Please note that discount codes cannot be combined and only one code may be used per order. May is when I personally stop planting traditional squash like zucchini and yellow squash. The pest pressure becomes intense, especially from squash vine borers and pickle worms, and it can honestly feel like a losing battle. So instead of fighting nature, I switched to squash-like crops that are naturally built for this season. They are not botanically classified as squash, but have similar flavor and texture. Chayote is a vigorous vine that produces heavily once established. You can sprout it from a chayote purchased at the grocery store. LUFFA is one of my favorite plants because you can harvest it young as a vegetable or let it mature into a natural loofah sponge. Bitter melon and bottle gourd are also excellent tropical vines that thrive in heat and humidity and will keep producing when other crops fail. All of these ideas can be used just like you would squash. If you've ever tried growing regular cucumbers in summer here in Florida, you already know. It's rough. Between mildew, humidity, and insects, they usually don't last very long. So in May, I switched to Asian heat-tolerant cucumber varieties like Suyo Long, China Jade, and Japanese Long, or try a hybrid Japanese cucumber called Natsu, which is parthenocarpic, meaning all the female flowers self-pollinate, and since female flowers are the ones that produce fruit, it's like an instant way to increase yields. These perform so much better in hot climates and have much higher disease resistance. You can also grow cucumber-like alternatives like Indian snake cucumber, cucamelons, achocha, and West Indian burr gherkins. They may look a little different, but they are incredibly productive and handle the heat with no problem. As temperatures rise, traditional bush beans and pole beans start slowing down, but warm season legumes take over and absolutely thrive. For legume crops that produce beans to be eaten fresh or to dry them out for long-term storage, plant cowpeas, southern peas, and pigeon peas. If you're planting corn in May, a great idea is to direct sow southern peas in the spaces between your rows of corn so they spread out, cover the ground, and block out weeds, all while producing something edible. If you're looking for a legume that can be used just like green beans, yard-long beans are a great choice. They have a very similar flavor, but with a slightly more crisp and crunchy bite. I use them in any recipe that calls for green beans, and they can also be canned or frozen in the same way. Purple hyacinth beans are another really fun and beautiful legume to grow this time of year. They are a fast-growing climbing vine with deep purple pods, stems, and flowers that make them just as ornamental as they are productive. The young pods can be cooked and eaten like green beans, but they do need to be cooked. Do not eat them raw. As the beans mature, you can also shell them and cook them similar to lima beans. What makes hyacinth beans especially great for summer is how well they handle heat, humidity, and tough growing conditions. They grow aggressively, provide shade, attract pollinators, and can even be used as a living trellis or privacy screen in your garden. May is the month where you officially say goodbye to traditional leafy greens. Lettuce, spinach, kale, arugula, they will bolt almost instantly in the heat. So instead, shift to warm season greens that thrive in these conditions. Amaranth, Malabar spinach, and edible leaf varieties of celosia grow quickly and continuously. And perennial greens like Okinawan spinach and katuk will give you a steady harvest with very little effort. You can also grow some lesser known greens that do really well this time of year. Sorrel is is a leafy green with a bright lemony flavor. It's often used fresh in salads, blended into sauces, or added to soups for a tangy kick. Here are some sorrel plants that are growing in my garden. When you take a bite, there is like a full force surge of lemon flavor in a very good way, and then it just disappears. So I love to add this into salad mixes to hit a wide variety of flavor profiles. Another unique heat-tolerant green that I wish more people knew about is Aztec spinach. This is actually a native North American plant that was used as a staple crop by indigenous cultures long before modern agriculture. It grows very well in heat, produces tender spinach-like leaves, and can also produce edible seeds similar to quinoa. It's a really versatile plant that gives you both greens and a potential grain. Most people are familiar with sweet potatoes, but I want to introduce you to some other amazing tropical root crops that you can grow. One of those is malanga, also known as yautía. This plant is similar to taro, but it prefers well-drained soil instead of wet conditions. It produces large, starchy corms that are commonly used in Caribbean cooking. You can boil it, mash it, fry it, or add it into soups and stews. It does take some time to grow, usually about 9 to 12 months, but it's a very reliable staple crop. Another option is true yams. Sweet potatoes are not yams. True yams are a completely different plant group in the genus Dioscorea. There are many different species of Dioscorea. One of the most well-known types of true yam is ube, which is a type of winged yam with the botanical name Dioscorea alata. I do not recommend growing Dioscorea alata types of yams like ube here in Florida. These plants produce some aerial little bulbs that drop all over the ground, so they spread very aggressively. For this reason, winged yams are considered invasive in many parts of Florida. Instead, a much better option is West African yam because it is not invasive and it produces massive carbohydrate-rich tubers under the ground that can be boiled, roasted, or used just like potatoes. Like most yams, they are vining plants, so they will need support, and they typically take around 8 to 12 months or longer to fully mature. But they are an excellent staple crop to grow in hot climates. I hope this video was helpful and gave you all lots of ideas on things that you can plant this month. I can't stress how important cultivar selection is as we go into the summer months, so please start transitioning to full-on tropical types of plants if you want to continue harvesting something edible during the summer. Please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss any of my gardening tutorials, and let me know in the comments what you're planting this month. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy gardening.